Hey, this is Azriel Lawless, and once again, you took the elevator and came your ass straight into Vella. Found yourself another Lawless interview, and I'm here today with Mr. Johnny Miles, author of Sweet Lost Dangerous Males and Rough Trade out on Kindle Vella. And we're just going to talk to him today and see how he's doing. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking.
Excellent, and thank you for being here on the show with me today. I know I chased you down.
Oh, no, my pleasure. It's nice to be chased sometimes.
After you got a shout out from Callie Chase, I decided
Yes.
to chase you down and see if you would like to be on the show, and you agreed, and I'm very happy to have you here. So thank you again.
Very happy to be here.
So I'm going to ask my famous first question. It's not really famous, but it's, it's what I ask everybody, very first one. And that is, when did you get started writing? Not how did you get started writing, but when did you get started writing?
I've always written, even as a kid. I remember, the very first thing was, believe it or not, Wizard of Oz. I thought this was the most wonderful thing in the world. And I took it upon myself to what we now call a novelization, not realizing that there was already an adaptation of an existing story. And I started to write it down just from memory. And I remember giving it to my teacher and him saying, well, this is really good, but it's already been done. And I was like, what? I was so disappointed as a kid hearing it was done, thinking, here I was trying to be original, but of course, obviously it was done. And all I was doing was, as I said, just doing a novelization, as what we call a novelization nowadays, of a movie, not realizing it was a story first.
Oh, so how old were you then?
I was probably 5th or 6th grade, maybe 7th.
Oh man, that's a rough age too. You're pretty tender in the old feelings department there.
Oh yeah, very much so. But actually, now that I think about it, it might have been younger because I was really little. And I don't remember seeing that movie until I was about 10. So,
oh,
whatever grade that is, you can figure it out.
Okay. All right. So that you got started there, and then, life, right?
Yes.
So, have you written anything and published it either with traditional publishers or the traditional Kindle publishing? Have you done any of that prior to finding Kindle Vella?
I did. So my first foray into writing was with, of all things, an erotic story.
Ooh.
And because I, as a young man, always liked looking at the magazines. And I remember reading these stories and thinking, God, this is not that great. Or thinking, God, I could do better than this. And a friend of mine, I kept complaining. A friend of mine on a dare said, well, why don't you just shut up about it and just write one? So I did. Wrote it, submitted it to the magazine. It got accepted right out. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. And so the editor met with the editor and said, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep doing this kind of stuff? And I said, well, eventually I want to just write just regular stuff, and he said, that's great, but you really need a pseudonym. And that was why he called me, because back then you didn't put your real name to this kind of stuff.
No.
And he said, any legitimate writer who wants to be considered legitimate will have to use a pseudonym. And that's how I started.
Right. And when was this? What year?
This would have been early to mid 80s, right around there. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Blue Boy, Numbers. I had stories on Hancho. I had a story in Gallery magazine, believe it or not.
Wow, really?
Oh yes. Oh, and that one was great. It was like $300 for a story that I was like, it took me all a Saturday afternoon. you know, and I thought, yeah, I think I like this writing thing. So,
Good macho.
yeah, well, yeah. I did take a long sabbatical because after a while I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing, and really didn't. I took writing classes here and there. I had no aim. Um, I had no goal. Well, I had a goal, but I didn't know how to reach it. And back then we didn't have social media, so you spoke with people or you didn't. And I had a very um, difficult time with uh, people's brutal honesties. uh, I guess I hadn't developed a thick skin yet, you know, and I kind of still haven't. So I kind of pull back a bit. Um, but eventually I met Treva Hart, who was one of the publishers at Lucid. Chatted with her for a bit. We were on a cruise, and she's like, "Oh, well, it's too bad that you don't write romance stories. You write well, but it's too bad you don't write romance stories because we could probably, you know, publish something." So I took it as a challenge. I was like, well, how difficult could this be? It was very difficult. But I wrote my first one, my first story. They accepted it with a caveat. I had to do a lot of rewrites. And then eventually I just scrapped everything together, started a new story altogether, and came up with my first story, which was Casa Rodrigo. And they published that. And I've published a few things since then with her. I'm sorry, with Lucid before they closed. I've got a couple of things with Deep Desires, and I've done some self-publishing.
Wow, that's great. And so we'll be able to get a lot of links down here in the video description, right? Is all this
Well,
stuff still available?
yeah, so a lot of the stuff is available. It's on my website. Some of the things haven't been put out yet. I just haven't had the time, which is horrible to say.
Well, no, I mean, life.
Life gets in the
Again,
way.
life.
Yeah. But the really cool thing was, and I had pretty much given up. The thing that got me going again was a program through the Latinx Writers Group that I applied for. They accepted me into their program as a mentee. They set me up with a really great mentor. I don't know if you know Alana Quintana Albertson.
No.
She's incredible. She's got a lot of stuff out. The latest one is Ramon y Julieta, which is kind of a modern day Romeo and Juliet. And she was the one that turned me on to the Kindle Vella stuff because she'd done Radish, and we were talking about just serialization and all that. And she thought it would be a good way for me to get, number one, get back into the writing, but number two, also be consistent with my writing.
Cool.
So,
And has it helped?
It has. It really has. Unfortunately, once again, life has gotten in the way. Some personal things that have happened. But yes, it has. And that's how Sweet Lost Dangerous Males began.
So can you tell us a little bit about Sweet Lost Dangerous Males, where you got the idea, and just loosely what it's about?
Sure. So Sweet Lost Dangerous Males was actually a dream that came to me one evening about, it was a while ago, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, something like that. And it was just it was weird because it was a dream, but it was like little pieces of dreams that came together that told a story. And shortly thereafter, I read Tales of the City, and I thought, oh my God, this is kind of how I saw that story, which is like a serialization, because it was originally Armistead Maupin serialization was just that. And I started writing it that way. And when Alana mentioned Kindle Vella, I thought, this might work for this. So gave it a shot, and so it's up. It's kind of hard to describe. It's four different people for extremely different walks of life come together in a way that is literally going to change their lives forever. I know that doesn't say much.
No, it does.
I can't. It's like I can't tell you much about it without giving away the ending.
No,
But
that tells a lot right there. I mean, people who are just completely different and then come together for some reason, some purpose.
yeah.
We don't know what yet.
Oh, I know the reason why. But so I have one guy. It's basically four leads. Mac is an ex Navy man who ends up having to leave San Diego, and he goes east. Then we have Cherry, who is back then they used to call them cross-dressers or transsexuals. Now we'd say they're trans or transgender. But except she doesn't know that that's what she is, because the terms weren't there back then. The story does take place in 85, so there's a lot of non-PC stuff and a lot of dialogue that some people might find a little irksome. But I'm the kind of person that does not like to whitewash what was.
Right,
And
right. And you know what was. So
exactly. I just don't believe in sugarcoating that kind of stuff. Aw, how cute.
Tucker, he's down there crying.
Aw, hi Tucker.
His big sister stole his blanket.
Aw.
He's just a big fat baby. So anyway, you were saying, and so you don't whitewash your dialogue or
No, I don't want to whitewash the dialogue. I don't whitewash events. It comes up because it came up. And I think that any artist, no matter the background, whether it's someone who's in media or a publisher, writer, whatever, I feel that we owe it to society to show, to represent what was, so that we know what not to do, what not to say. I don't know if that makes any sense.
of course it makes sense. And it makes a hell of a lot more sense than lying to kids for generations about what actually happened and fostering endemic racism for 300 years. Yeah, no, it makes a lot more sense than that, or 700 years, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like to, if I'm reading of something and it's supposed to be in a period, I want it to be in the period.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of that, I think that's one of the reasons why one of my chapters got banned, which is why I couldn't go on with the story anymore. Because I was in the story, I was trying to have this character reclaim his power. And the title of the chapter was "That's Mr. Faggot to You." Because his stepfather calls him that, and in a very derogatory manner, but he just kind of takes it back. And
Mr. What?
That's Mr. Faggot to you.
Friday.
No, faggot, Faggot.
Oh my God. Okay, no, that's how you didn't get your.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what did it. So that chapter is not out there except for my subscribers. And it probably won't be out until such a time that I actually put the whole story together in novel form. So yeah, so that's an example of the whitewashing that I don't like to do.
Well, I wonder if you could get it through if you did the F, the @ symbol, and for the O, use a 0.
So unfortunately, I didn't think about that beforehand.
Yeah, I know. I just meant, I wondered.
Yeah, it's possible. It's very possible.
Yeah.
I tried all different kinds of ways to get it.
Well, I just
changed.
didn't know if it would come up again. I know it was said a hell of a lot.
Well, the strange thing is that in the store, in other places, I've said a lot worse. So I don't know if it was the title. I really don't know what it is that got to them. But whatever their algorithms or logistics, whatever that it's called, I'm not up on the terms. It just raised a big giant red flag, and I said,
Yeah,
well,
it did.
it is what it is, and I just have to rebrand it. So, which leads me to Rough Trade, which is basically a continuation of the 4 characters. So you got Bogey, I'm sorry, you got Mac, you've got Cherry, you've got Bogey, who is autistic, but it wasn't a widely defined thing or diagnosed thing back then. So I'm not calling it autism in the story. I'm letting the reader define that for themselves, because I believe there's enough information out there, enough education since then, that people will understand. And then we have, so that's Bogey, and then we have Dodger, who is just a street urchin, just bouncing around. He's basically a street hustler with heart, but not a hustler in the sexual term, more hustler in like a,
Right.
selling drugs and, picking pockets and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so these 4 people will come together. 2 of them already have, and it's just going to be a bang up job. And that's all.
Very nice. Very nice.
And hopefully the reader will think it is anyway.
So we've got Rough Trade, which is a continuation of Sweet Lost Dangerous Males.
Correct.
Okay. And Sweet Lost Dangerous Males, did it end rather abruptly because of the chapter that would not publish?
I feel like it kind of did. I feel like it kind of did. And that's why in the first episode of Rough Trade, towards the bottom in the author's notes, I stated that people should read Sweet Lost Dangerous Males first, so that they wouldn't feel lost in reading Rough Trade. Right.
Do you have a sense of how many words you wound up with in Sweet Lost Dangerous?
I don't. It was about 27 episodes. Let's see, 27 times 1,000, 1,500. So you're looking at maybe 50 plus, 50,000 plus.
So enough to be a volume of a book, right?
Yeah. I mean, the story itself isn't completed, but I figured,
right.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a fair enough amount for people to read. Yes.
Yeah, because I've read a couple of traditionally published series recently. I was just sitting here thinking of them, big names, and they're just big continual stories.
Yeah.
I seem to recall back in the day, like back when, water was new and stuff like that, that back in the day, traditional publishing houses, when you had a series of something, it was generally frowned on to pick up exactly where the other one left off. Am I remembering that correctly? You're a little younger than I am, but still.
Probably, I doubt by much. I remember seeing the serials on TV, like the Buster Crab things, not Buster, Flash Gordon. And most of the time they seem to pick up where they left off.
Right, exactly where they left off. Okay.
Yeah, but there were some that didn't. Because I remember they would replay these or like late at night or whatever, like on PBS or wherever.
No, I was talking about books.
Oh, in the books. Okay.
Yeah, books from traditional publishers. When you did a series for a traditional publisher, which is a rare thing anyway, that to pick up exactly where one left off in the prior book was just not done.
No, yes, I think you're right. If I remember correctly, it was more like you start off somewhere else and then eventually you go back and you kind of weave it together.
Yes, but that is no longer true. Yeah. So even in Trad Pub, so you were talking about it, that the story's not quite finished, right? So correct. I was saying that it's just a-okay, just to elongate it and just keep going.
Yes.
And chop it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Because a couple of real big ones that I've read lately have been that way. And if they were a single novel, they'd been, I don't know, 1,200 pages or something. The 14. Big one.
I'm
So
trying.
anyway,
I try to write
so
episodic rather than
right. And what I want to know now is, so when did you put up Sweet Lost Angels?
about a year ago, give or take.
So you heard about Vella how?
So Vella was through Alana Albertson.
That's right. That's right. And she said, why don't you write for him? And so
Yeah.
she would have been in on the very beginning of it as well as your mentor. So then your stuff was up there in July when they lit it up.
Oh yeah, I started to do it and I started to work on it, and I really like the aspect of writing in a serial format because it makes me think shorter.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense.
Yes. Yes.
It makes me, it allows me to focus solely on what I want to see happen, or what should happen to this particular character and their
Right.
journey. Um, with the action that moves it forward to the next episode. So it's a very different way of writing as opposed to just sitting down and oh, I'm going to write a novel. So it's a very different way of doing it. It really is like visualizing something on television or in a movie, or literally a telenovela on Spanish television or soap operas, whatever. And you write that scene, and you write the next scene, and you write the next one, but they're still connected. They're
Yes.
all woven together. And it's really, for me, it's been a very positive experience in that regard.
Yes.
And as I said, other than that one snafu, it's been a positive experience overall. And I really like it.
Right. And anybody could run into that snafu.
Oh yeah.
I mean, were we even given a list of words?
Um, I don't know that there is a list of words, but I'm sure that under their terms and terms of service or something,
DOS, yeah, terms of service.
there's got to be some kind of guidelines as far as if
Surely a website to the terms.
that might be a good idea to, if they had that, just kind of like things to avoid, or words to avoid.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know, because I don't know how their program reads through this, and I'm sure it's got to be a program because they can't possibly pay enough people to read through this stuff.
No, come on. Now they can't. I mean, did you see on there? Oh my God. Somebody took Tale of Two Cities and ran it through a translator and stuck it up there.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh my God.
I'll send you a link to it so you can look at it after we're done. And it's two different cities. That's how it came out.
Oh, okay.
Two different cities. And because I won't even click on it to see the rest of episode 1, I'll send it to you. I won't click on it because I don't want them to even get, however much you get for a free episode.
Right.
Here, listen to the first of it. It was the most ideal situation. It was the worst possible situation.
Oh my God.
It was a time of astuteness. It was the period of absurdity.
Oh my God. Well, that sounds like that whole situation right there.
Yeah, indeed. So people are doing some really, that could not have been read by maybe, I don't know. Maybe not, no American checker would let that through.
No, well, not even that. It's just like, that is such a classic story that's ingrained in our minds. I mean, how could anybody think that they could get away with something like that?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
wow.
There's a bunch of stuff going on that you and I would not even think of because we do not have that mindset.
No,
we're the chumps that are writing for it. Okay.
Yes, in the hopes that somebody at Amazon will go, hey, this will make a great story.
Yeah, exactly. There have been a few on there that I have read that I thought would make good movies.
Mm-hmm.
And and Amazon certainly has the wherewithal to make these movies. Their studios are not a joke anymore. They're heavy hitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hollywood is, although not ancillary, it's no longer king.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
Oh, I mean, all of Amazon Prime. I mean, they're all the shows that they put on there. Netflix, with Netflix, of course, it's just opened the door for so many opportunities.
dude, I don't even know how Netflix works, because like there's a Russian Netflix, because there's this really good series called To the Lake that was
Right.
made in Russia for Netflix by a Russian film company. Super, super good. They were always supposed to have season 2 out, but of
Uh-huh.
course, Putin's an asshole. So we don't
Yeah.
get season 2. They don't get Facebook. We don't get season 2 of To the Lake, and a bunch of Ukrainians are dead and don't have homes anymore. So it's just the way it is these days.
Thing.
So not to be
Not to
depressing or
digress.
anything. Sorry, I got off on a tangent.
No, it's quite all right. Listen, I can discuss that. Yes, I have a funny feeling we might be in the same wavelength as far as that is concerned.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that. That's
Oh, I can.
really
But
screwing
would
up.
bite my tongue.
They made it so much progress. They'd made so much progress. They had so much promise, and he is cocking it all up.
Yeah.
So, anywho, so back to the Vellas.
Yes.
I know that you've been out here for a minute, so I'm sure you've read some Vellas and have your ones that stand above and beyond all others. So 3 to 4.
Well, I can tell you the top 2 that have.
Top 2.
Oh, okay. So hang on a second. Let me go to where I need to go, because I have a few that I've been reading, but there are 2 that I focused on only because I really don't have a lot of time these days, it seems. Are you still with me?
I'm right here.
Okay. I had to go to a different screen. I should have thought to do this beforehand. I apologize.
No apology necessary. I can't remember anybody's name. I remember faces very, very well, but names, oh, come on.
Let me sign in.
And I love your shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, COVID, right?
When this virus is over, I still want a lot of you to stay away from me.
It's a horrible thing, but I don't know. There's just some people that, my goodness. Anyway, okay. So first of all, just you need to know I have yours on my radar. The top 2 that I started reading, I'll give you a couple more as well. But the top 2, of course, Bug. Bug got me from day one. Bug was like somebody digging their claws into you and then just slowly sinking them in and then just scratching on that blackboard.
She's good, isn't she?
And the way she ratchets everything. And I mean, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it, because I'm like, the suspense, the thrill is there. And like I said, it's like, at first it's just like, okay, it's a walk in the park. Literally, this character is, I think, walking, running, sitting in the park. I can't remember now. And then it starts to go, and it's like, okay, this is really creepy. And it's incredible. It's really incredible. And I have a lot to catch up on with that one, and with all of these that I started. But that's my top. My
Okay, so Bug by Callie Chase. There's an awful lot of people who agree with you on that one.
Yeah, my second one I'm going to say is Gage Greenwood. He's got
Gage Greenwood. No.
Winter's Haven, Winter's Myth.
Winter's Myths by Gage Greenwood.
Yeah, yeah. He really caught my attention with that one again. And again, unfortunately, life gets in the way, work gets in the way, everything gets in the way, my own writing gets in the way. So I'd love to, where I once had a lot of time to read and write due to COVID, I don't anymore. So that's been a little difficult. The third one that, believe it or not, I've been enjoying is by Clint Baker. It's The Worshipped Around Reality's Bend. And it's a very mythical world building.
Around realities, what?
It's The Worshipped Around Reality's Bend by Clint Baker.
Ooh.
And those are, I'd say, perhaps the top three that have caught my attention. And actually, no, let me add also Christopher Opaki. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Humans Are Scary.
Yeah, Christopher
That's a
Opaki,
fun one.
Humans Are Scary.
Yeah. That's a fun one. And by the end of the first episode, it's like, you're like, I won't say because I don't want to give it away, but it's like, yeah, you can totally relate where this character is coming from.
Yeah. I believe I interviewed Chris, or either that or I read the first episode of it or something for Vella. I've done quite a bit of these or quite a few of these, but anyway, yeah, it's not a kid's story.
No, it's not. And it starts off all nice and fluffy, and
Yeah.
that's as far as I'm going to take it. But
He used to have a different cover on it and it looked like a kid's story, but he reskinned it so it didn't.
I like the new one with the that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to give anything away because unfortunately when you start talking about something that you like to read, we have a tendency to maybe slip a little.
Yeah, it is really easy to do that, because we get excited, and that's just the way it is. And we hope people will get excited about our work as well.
Yeah.
So you don't have a lot of time because you got to work to eat, I guess, like the rest of us. Yeah.
I love your phrases and your turn of words. I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do. Somebody, you should be paid to, like, I don't know, stand up or something.
Sure. Yeah, well, I'll alert the powers that be about that anytime now, but thank you. That's very kind. I was just sitting here trying to think, well, you don't have time to read the stuff anymore. And if I asked you about a work in progress, it'd be that you didn't have time and you've had a lot going on in your life. You've had an awful lot of going on. And but I am hoping that Sweet Lost Dangerous Males does really well, and that also, Rough Trade, which I do like that title, certainly evocative.
Well, there's other stories initially, even though that was the initial one was Sweet Lost Dangerous Males. Afterwards, there were a whole bunch of stories that came up that I started thinking, oh my God, I can do this and I can do that. And so I actually have 5 different series planned out that take place between the 50s through probably about the early 2000s, late 1990s. Starting with, of all people, Mac as a 19-year-old Navy man. And someone named Coco, who he, shall we say, befriends.
I see.
In the South. In what is that place called? Oh God, I forgot the name of it. It's a big Navy town in the South. It's not. Oh geez, why can't I think of it?
It's in North Carolina. Norfolk, Virginia.
Yes. Story takes place there, but that's not been planned out yet. But basically, between the 5 different stories that I have that are going to be falling under that umbrella are going to cover a lot of different things, from the 50s, such as racism and segregation, the whole LGBT coming together, standing up for yourself and personal pride and civil rights. you know, or at least that's where I'm hoping to take it, you know, because these are things that I feel are important at any time so that we don't forget the struggles that our people have had before us, you know. For a long time, history is written by the successor or whoever wins. Well, there's a lot of people who've not had that luxury,
Right.
you know, and I'm hoping that I have enough time to work out the entire series under that umbrella name. So, and it won't be the same characters, obviously, but some of them will come back.
Well, I think it's fascinating. I think you could do, why couldn't you just do that for all four of the guys?
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, why couldn't you just go back like for all four of the guys and do their backstory, and they'd be wildly ass different because they're wildly ass different.
I have actually two of them one of them is definitely going to be Mac with Coco, not Cherry this time. He has you'll find he has a penchant for shall we say mulatto cross-dressers. I don't know if that's a correct term or not, but I'm using it from the 50s.
I try not to say anything anymore.
True, and I'm probably just going to get myself in trouble by saying that, but
I hope not. We don't mean anything bad.
no, not at all. And Cherry, who is mixed race, will come back in another story that again is related or connected to this present one that I'm working on, Sweet Lost Dangerous Males and Continues in Rough Trade. So I had not thought to work with Bogey or Dodger, but that's a really, really, really good idea. So thank you for that.
Oh yes, you're very welcome. Because wouldn't it be nice to then offer them all together on Kindle when they were all complete?
Yeah, so now I probably have 7 of them to add. And it's all your fault.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad, because your writing is beautiful. Callie is absolutely correct. Your writing is quite beautiful and polished. You clearly, this is not new to you, and it's lovely.
I feel like it is. It's like every day is a learning experience. Every episode, and I'm sure you know this. Every writer feels that they're still learning, or that they're not the writer they would like to be. You know, so we're constantly evolving and reworking and just.
I'm going to modify that slightly and say every good writer
Okay,
is not quite what they want to be. They're always striving to improve. You know, they put their stuff out there. They're not so reticent to put their stuff out there, but that they can't, but they still feel like they've got room to improve, I think.
I think we have to. I mean, don't you think? I mean, really, it's like with anything in life. Anybody who says, oh, they're an expert at something, it's like, that's the first person I'm going to go, really? And so I would never say I'm such a great writer or such a even good writer that, you know, I would say that about myself, which is why I always strive to work towards something different, you know, to improve my writing. And hopefully
writing is composed of language. Language is ever evolving.
Yes.
It would be the height of arrogance to believe that for all the time that we've lived, we know what is what is the writing to do, what is proper.
Exactly.
You know.
Agreed.
So yeah, because writing has definitely changed. The voices that are resonating now have changed from what were resonating in the 80s or the 90s or even 2000.
Yes. And technology has come a long way to allow that.
Yes.
So that we can get voices out there.
Yes. And that has been one of the big deals of Kindle Vella.
Yes. Oh my God. That's really, really an excellent point about that. And that's the other thing that I like about Vella is that there's so many different voices, so many different genres, just so many different styles. So that, and the way they have it set up, okay, so you read 3 episodes that are free. If you like the story, you move on to the, to the rest of it. If you don't, there's another story around the corner. And I think that's what the fascinating thing about this is. And like with my stuff, it's like, okay, you don't like my stuff, great, no problem. Maybe they'll like yours, or maybe they'll like Callie's or someone else's. Just read, just escape, get away from, I don't know, just all the nonsense we've been experiencing these past few decades with social media and everything. Mind you, social media has its presence.
Yeah.
But pull back. Let's go into another world sometime, let's go into a different dimension and entertain ourselves, And that's what's great about Kindle Vella to me.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that having this vast, it'll become a universe of voices out there, and having this vast universe of voices that you can just pick and choose from. It's going to be wonderful. It's already wonderful. It's getting more wonderful as they get more and more and more and more stories that are coming in. So I'm excited about it, and I hope that it catches on, and I hope that people really enjoy it and enjoy the fact that it's by design. It's made to read today and on your phone and in short bursts, not to be consumed all at once, and you don't have to feel like, oh my God, there's this huge tome over there, I'm never going to finish it,
Right. Except for those of us who are hungry to read it all.
Yes, exactly. Then you're certainly welcome to do so. Go right ahead.
Exactly.
Help yourself, buy some more tokens, they're cheap.
And I've got over 1,000 tokens just itching to be used.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I don't know how many racks of tokens I've bought. I try not to think about it too much, because it's cheap. It's a cheap investment.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole thing, it's when I look at the other vices I could probably have, this is by far perhaps the least
exactly,
the least expensive, and perhaps the less self-harming of anything.
Yes, exactly. I don't know exactly in the world where you are, but where I am, a pack of cigarettes is $15.
Wow. I'm in Fort Lauderdale, by the way. I don't know how much they are because I've never been a smoker.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. I was for a short period of my life, and quit before I was 30. So I must have been 28.
Okay.
So, but I'm so glad that I did, because, oh my God.
With that's, I mean, that's,
yeah.
What?
So that's my point, is for $15, you can buy so many tokens.
Oh yeah.
So much better for you than a pack of coffin nails, and so much better value.
I think so. Agreed.
So Philip Morris, anyway. Yes, Vella, the place where you can hear people start talking about books and wind up talking about, Philip Morris and tobacco. And
I love it. And just come on, just the title, Vella. I mean,
Oh man, I was so happy to get that.
That has tell me that doesn't have a ring,
I think it does, and I love it. And I'm happy that we're all out here trying to be a community, is what I'm happy about.
Yes, absolutely.
And help each other, because somebody's got to help raise awareness of this platform. And I know Amazon is getting ready to do something. They're getting ready to open up their advertising to us, or something is getting ready to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Because some of the other authors like yourself who have books out there have asked their book reps or whatever about this. So I don't know anything. I'm certainly not privy to anything.
Neither am I, but fingers crossed, you never know.
I know I'm waiting. It's it, and I'm having a great time. I have zero complaints. So
Yeah.
that brings me to my next question. So after the shout outs, there's always this question, which is, Johnny Miles, if you had the controls in front of you and could do anything you wanted to with Vella, is there anything you would do to make it better?
Oh my God. To make it better, I knew, and the funny thing is, I knew you were going to ask this question, and I pondered it, and I still don't know what I would do that will be different. I understand there's some confusion around the likes and the crowning and all that stuff.
Yep.
But I also flip it and think I do understand their approach, in that I think it's their attempt to give everyone an equal footing at the beginning of the month for the crowns and stuff like that. I think I think if there was one thing, I would probably explain in a bit more detail how it is that the likes and the crowns get people moving up or down in whatever position their stories are currently in. Other than that, I mean, other than opening it up to a broader audience, that's probably it. But I
So,
think, I'm
yeah.
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Oh, crown transparency
Yeah.
and broader audience.
Yes. Because I think, so they started off with a very limited audience. And I think, God, as awful as this is going to sound, the American audience was perhaps the worst one to start it with. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because we are not accustomed to reading serials. We're not accustomed to hearing serials. I mean, for crying out loud, the BBC in the UK still has radio serials.
Yeah.
So that perhaps would have been a better market, or even the Canadian market. We tend to be voracious with what we read and what we see, and we want it all now. We're Veruca Salt, and we want it all now. But be that as it may, it happened, and so here we are. And I just think a broader audience, number one, and number two, definitely the transparency behind the crowds.
Yeah, those are two good suggestions. You know, that's the audience broadening has been a really popular one.
Yeah, because I think also, didn't it first start on iOS first, and then eventually open up to Android?
Yes.
Because I mean, even on my, because I'm all Mac at home, and yet I have a Kindle because I like the way the Kindle feels.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also a lot more affordable. But I would have thought that because it's a Kindle, the Kindle would have had it first. You know, like you couldn't really read it. Like this, it wasn't. I don't know. Like it wasn't an app. It wasn't really user friendly.
Yeah. Getting it on the Kindle app was a big deal. I remember that happened.
Yeah.
So October, November.
I would say, yeah, I know it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, but it was a big thing, because at first I was like, wait, what do you mean I can't read it on my Kindle? I gotta go to the Silk browser? What are you talking about?
Yeah, that seemed pretty absurd when you couldn't get it on Kindle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember telling a friend of mine about it, and she's an avid Kindle reader, and she's like, I can't, you know.
Yeah.
But of course, that's all been fixed.
Yeah.
And we're not even a year in for the live stuff. So we still have the rest of this month, and then June and part of July before we've had a full year to
Right.
see. And it's my understanding from folks who were out in the beginning of the Kindle gold rush, that it was just about a year, slightly more, when they opened it up to the English speaking markets.
Right. And that's actually one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting at first, because I know there were a lot of glitches and people were complaining, but I was like, it's only been a few months. And it takes a while with technology
Yeah, it does.
to a point where it runs almost without a hitch,
Yes, it does.
you know, and this is huge. This is ginormous.
It's gigantic. And people who have worked in tech or do work in tech, they know.
Yeah.
And they're quiet about it.
Yeah.
Like I've worked in tech and I think they're doing a good job.
I think so too. I mean, I'm not as huge a tech person, but I have worked some in tech. And it's just, I shudder to think the nightmare this must be.
Oh, the sheer volume alone.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the weight of the data alone. I can't, how much is being put up there on a daily basis?
Right.
And when they open it up to the other markets to read, I hope people are remembering this. Okay. When they open it up to the other markets to read, they open it up to the other markets for the writers to post.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
So
Agreed.
along with your bigger audience, you're getting a larger competition pool.
Right. Right.
So, you know, be that as it may, I look forward to it as well.
As do I. It should be very interesting.
Yeah, it'll be neat to be able to communicate with other Vella writers,
Mhm.
you know, in England or, you know, Australia or whatever, wherever we get, even Canada, which I could like throw a rock up here in Canada and hit somebody in the eye.
Well, let's not, hopefully you won't do that, but okay.
No, I think I'd probably get arrested for that.
Probably. You mentioned your neck of the woods. Where is your neck of the woods?
Oh, I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest.
Ah, beautiful.
Yeah.
North country.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful up here. And yeah, the Southern accent that was ingrained in. I moved up here almost 30 years ago.
Oh, from where?
From Texas.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's where that that's where that in.
I kind of thought it was Southern, but I wasn't sure because it's not 100% Southern. A little softness to us, you know. But there is
good,
a little.
Good.
There is
I've
a
been
little.
here a minute.
So we've been to Seattle, loved it. Been to Portland, loved it. Almost moved there. Yeah, Pacific Northwest is gorgeous.
Yeah, Portland is. I think I have loved my time up here, and I love my house up here, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But I think I would love to move to Oregon as well.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about making one more big move, and before I check it in.
Well,
I don't tend to do anything for a short amount of time, you know.
I hope that won't happen for a long, long time.
Right. So, but you know, I figure if I've got another 20, 30 years somewhere, well, you know,
might as well make it someplace that you really want to rock the boat.
Yeah. Don't know where I would want to go. I'm really thinking about it. It's a hard decision when you've been in the same place for a long time.
There was one place I would go that I would spend a few years in, and that would be in Edinburgh, in Scotland.
Edinburgh.
Yes, I would love to just be there for a few years.
I wonder how one would go about that. I know that it would be okay if I just brought my retirement income and my writing income there. They sure don't want you to work.
No, you have to be completely independent so that you are not a ward of any state.
And they'll welcome Americans, because let me tell you something, the Scottish are really pissed off that the English are coming and buying their property and stuff.
One in particular, nameless.
Because their public health is so much better, and they take care of people. They have a larger pool of money for people who go into like the retirement homes and stuff. And so English people are coming and they're buying these Scottish homes so that they can get on the Scottish national health.
Oh boy.
And so it's causing really bad feelings. But if you're an American and you want to go over there, as long as you have your income that you're bringing, as long as you're bringing money into Scotland, they're happy to have you.
Oh yeah. I just want to go for a year or two. That's it. I don't want to live there forever. You know?
Yeah, well, that would be cool, wouldn't it? I actually wanted to go to Russia and live for a while before Putin pulled his crap.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I'd wait a while.
That's not going to happen now.
No, no.
This is going to take years to fix.
It's going to be a couple of generations. Yeah.
Yeah. Years to fix.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah.
we're not talking about that. I told you we're not talking about that.
Something else. Let's go back to Vella. Okay. Yeah. So what other questions do you have for me? I'm curious.
Oh, Johnny Miles, I'm not going to ask you anything personal. I can't ask you anything personal.
Oh, you can. I just may not answer.
Oh, okay. All right. But I just wanted to know about your writing and what got you going, what got you motivated, what got you started. And, you know, you're like so many others out there that are really good. You got started when you were little. It seems to come out of you like it was an ingrained thing. And, you know, it seems like something you need to do.
It is. It is. And, you know, and it's not always easy. Sometimes it is. But for example, there's a episode I was working on just before you popped in, as a matter of fact. Dealing with some of my own stuff and processing some of my own issues sometimes it makes its way into a story. And I was having some difficulty connecting with a couple of characters in the story. And I think what I end up doing is putting either my own experience or the experience of someone that I know that I care about, and putting myself in their shoes to try and figure out the why of it, you know.
Mhm.
And my mom recently passed, and it's been a little difficult, you know. So I'm kind of processing some of that through one of the characters now. And it's not the easiest thing in the world, because it is about, no matter how made up these stories are, there's still always some kind of truth to it. You know, it's about human drama and emotion. So it's not always easy to process or to work through, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. And I can't imagine not doing it. I just can't imagine not writing.
Well, I want you to keep writing. And the last thing I'm going to ask you is, what would you like to say to the folks who are going to be clicking on the links that I'm going to be putting in this video description and reading your stuff for the very first time, some of them? What would you like to say to them?
Other than I hope you're not confused. I really, really just hope that they can find some connection with the characters. Maybe even find a connection that says you're not alone. But mostly just I hope I managed to entertain you. And I hope that you like it enough to keep coming back.
Well, that is certainly a worthy thing to say to folks who are looking at your material, and I can guarantee you people that you will enjoy reading it because it is very well written. And yes, it's definitely worth the time and definitely worth the tokens.
Oh, thank you.
That's the new phrase out there. It's worth the time and tokens, baby.
It should be on a t-shirt.
Worth the TNT, baby.
I love it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us here today, or me here today. Us, I'm not exactly royalty.
It's a pleasure.
All of these up in my head.
I don't know. I have a feeling we can knock a few of these back.
At least a few.
Yeah.
Till one of us is on the floor anyway.
It might be me.
Probably. All right, you. So until the next time, this is Azriel Lawless, and this has been Mr. Johnny Miles here on Vella, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.